I was a 4-time loser before I realized I was in the wrong game.
This was the face of crime.
2 decades in and out of jail.
So you did a little time.
Yes, like 15 years. Anybody can change.
Dave turned his life around, and my dad gave him another chance.
That changed everything for me, and I just started seeing myself as being able to do whatever I wanted to do.
So in less than a year's time, he's taken it from concept to recipe to store shelves.
Dave's Killer Bread. Oh my God.
Willamette Wheat called it the best bread in Portland.
That's good stuff.
I just want you to make one clarification, because for folks who've never heard him, and Russ had the same question, he is not a killer. The bread is killer good, but his was a drug problem, right?
No murder on the rap sheet. The bread killer, the man, he's a sweetheart.
Oregon in Ethics Business Award for 2011 is Dave's.
And in the business, I mean, it just couldn't hardly be any better than it is.
Dave is the next big thing. They have it at Costco.
Yeah, Fred Meyer, New Seasons, Whole Foods, it's everywhere.
He really does have an inspirational story. You guys will love hearing about it.
I remember being in prison late at night thinking, okay, things are really bad. If I ever get out of this, I'm going to have a story to tell. Our dad was a pioneer in the healthy bread industry. He worked like a maniac and created sprouted wheat breads that are still popular today, doing things the old-fashioned way. My mom and my big brother worked hard as well. When I was 9 and could reach over the workbench, well, I wanted to be part of that. My dad had this really unique thing going on. As a kid, you didn't really want to be unique. And I just started resenting my dad, not liking my dad, actually kind of hating my dad. I was looking for a way to find my identity, but I was a really miserable young guy. Putting that needle in my arm the first time took that away. They called it crank in those days. I called it God. I used my God to go out and commit felony after felony. I rose up through the ranks of petty criminals, one arrest at a time. I was a serious bonehead. I'd do just about anything to get high. I kept getting tripped up and I went to jail countless times. My first prison sentence was for burglary in Oregon. After that, it was 4.5 years in Massachusetts for armed robbery. Then I came back to Oregon and did another 2 years for robbery and assault. When I got back out of the streets in '96, I decided to make a career out of selling dope. You know, lots and lots of them. Along the way, I did collections for myself and others. People owed me money, and I'd get that or whatever else they had. I knew it could give me a lot of time, but, you know, that came with the territory. In '97, I got arrested 5 times in 3 counties. I was a train wreck. As I started that last prison set, I really thought my life was over. I was looking down this long black tunnel, you know, and I wasn't seeing any light. You know, I managed to pump a little bit of iron and play some guitar, but every night I had to go back in and lay on my bunk and face the fact that I was a complete failure. I was very depressed, more depressed than I'd ever been in my whole life. I finally discovered the humility to go and talk to a doctor. I'd always avoided this because I didn't want to be the guy in the med line. But you know, when you got something wrong with you, you got to get it fixed. It's not being weak. It's stronger to have humility, have enough humility to do what you have to do to get right. I started having some hope, and I took the drugs with hope and not like, okay, these drugs are going to change me. I'm going to change with the help of these drugs. As I started taking this depression medication, I started focusing and being able to concentrate more. I started finding that I could play guitar better. I studied CAD/CAM, computer-aided drafting. It was really an eye-opener for me.
I remember when he called me from prison and he was hinting that he'd like to come back. I had been recognizing some differences, some things that were different in the way he was talking, the way he was taking responsibility for himself. And I loved him and I wanted him back. I wanted that creativity. I wanted all those things that I felt like we had missed as brothers for so many years.
My dad, gave him another chance. He easily could have said, "Sorry, you've burnt me too many times. I'm not going to take you back." But he welcomed him back with open arms, and that was really the genesis of the whole thing. It was the reuniting of the family and having everything come back together like that.
Once he opened up to that, then it was on at that point.
The success of Dave's Killer Bread was really just how much he put himself into it. That's what he did for the first couple of years. That's pretty much all he did.
If you'd have been there at the first farmers market, you would have known. It was unbelievable. There was Dave's Killer Bread booth, manned by my son and Dave.
We knew we had a hit the first day we launched it at the farmers market. I was hawking the bread, yelling, "Come try the Killer Bread, gotta try the Killer Bread, get a free sample of your Killer Bread." And people would come up to the booth like, "Killer Bread, what the heck is this guy yelling about?" And they'd take a sample of it and they'd be like, "Damn, this is the best bread I've ever had." And once we had enough people tell us that, that's when we knew we had a hit. We knew we had a great loaf of bread.
Not long after we moved in here, I remember standing back in the storeroom and looking at all the ingredients and feeling like my dad's spirit, if you will, how much I wished he could be there to see this. I know he would have been really excited by the whole thing. He would have been excited about what Dave has done. He worried about Dave, just like we all did. He'd been very, very happy that Dave had found his way out of the lifestyle he was in. So I know he would have enjoyed seeing all this.
I came around and realized that my dad was doing the best he could, and that what really matters in life, my dad wasn't all that bad, and he was actually a pretty good guy. And I can learn a lot from him. People are braving the storm just to come here for some killer bread.
It's the most phenomenal bread that I've ever had in my life.
So you've been customers of Dave's for how long?
Well, we were the first ones, I think.
Yeah, the first
Really?
day,
When he first opened at the market here.
Wow.
We got him into his first commercial store, Food Front Co-op.
No kidding.
Oh, really? Yep.
I was like, if you like my bread, go in there and tell them about it, and they did. I think that's how it worked, was it?
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Why do you buy that and not other bread?
Because organic's the way to go. It's great for the farmer, it's great for the planet, it's great for the people eating it.
We love Dave's Killer Bread and Dave.
Anybody can change. And I think if there's anything that everybody should know from my story it's just that. Anybody can change. Because I was really a jackass.
It's really an example of what can come out of forgiveness. If you can open up your heart to somebody, look at what great things can happen.
To wrap it all up, if I can do it, you can do it. Is that stupid or what?
No, that's really cool.